I'm Lauren Gassino. I'm an outdoor recreationalist in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. I love backpacking, hiking, trail running, anything getting me outside and in beautiful places just like this. As someone that gets outdoors a lot, I need to fuel my body, and I often do that with beef.
Tyler Beard, a rancher in Kittitas Valley, just over the Cascades from Seattle. Where we're sitting is the office at now the Full Barn Ranch, but it used to be the Burke Homestead in the 1890s when people started coming up here. And it actually is right next to the place that I was raised, where I'd spend all my summers with my grandparents. The biggest thing to grazing really isn't even always about how much you're taking, but it's how much rest time you have. You want to make sure that you give the plants enough time to recover. The biggest thing is before you come back again to let it rest.
How long would a period of rest typically be?
That really depends on the amount of rainfall you're getting. Everything that is dry land, I mean, on a good year, we're getting 16 inches of rain here, which is almost desert, so a year or more. And the reason that you'd rest it for more than a year is just to be grazing it at a different time. I think people are too worried about weeds and invasive species, where in my mind, it was probably bare soil to start with, and cows can help by breaking up the crust on the bare soil. And then they also eat invasive species. Every plant serves a different purpose and does something different for the soil. But I mean, the cow that we're watching right now, she's eating thistle. I mean, even if it's a weed, biodiversity sometimes is better for soil health. It's getting more important now to be taking care of your ecosystem. To be sustainable, we're really gonna have to start to pay attention to how we're managing cows and think more of, rather than just what we're doing, but what the fisheries are doing, and when they're turning fish out in the streams, and creek restoration projects, and where they want cows. And then on the other side of that, have to be thinking about the cows a little bit of where they're going to get water and what they're going to be eating, because we really can't just come in and fence all the creeks out. So it's kind of a joint effort from everybody to be sustainable in that regard.
How do you manage with no fences?
So we actually did a project where we're putting collars on cows, and it's kind of like a dog collar. You can build a virtual fence, and it has a beeping noise for a certain amount of time. You can see where cows are traveling, when they're in the wrong spot, and you can build some boundaries.
Who's involved in making the fencing possible?
There's several state agencies, and then a fishery and some private organization groups and conservation groups. And then the rancher also has to agree to do it. One thing that's becoming more pertinent all the time now is firewising the forest. It has to be a balancing act of overutilizing the forage, but reducing enough of it that it's going to reduce the fuel load. So if there is a wildfire, it won't burn as hot, or kind of reduce it. But the other thing that cows really actually help do is open up the trails. In the Teanaway Community Forest where we're at, it's spotted owl habitat, so they're not allowed to actually do any logging or disrupt the forest at all. So depending on where we're at, we might actually trim some of the trails so that you can get across it, or even if there's dead trees that fall over, cows will actually knock the branches off the top of them so you can step over the top. Really, in a lot of aspects, they probably help people that are running on trails. What kind of things are you doing as an outdoor recreationalist for sustainability?
So oftentimes at the forefront of like a hiker or trail runner's mind is to follow Leave No Trace principles, which kind of highlight making your impact the smallest possible, taking all the waste that you bring in out, as well as being respectful of the people around you and the land that you're using.
What's your favorite kind of terrain to go into?
I love alpine meadows. So anything high up where you can see mountaintops, there's lakes, there's fields of wildflowers. That is my favorite. Do you ever go camping?
Only with the cows. Really, one of the biggest interactions that I have with recreationists is when they're driving up the actual road. And I don't think most of them realize that it's open range where cattle have access to the road. So they're not always looking for cattle. There's times where people are going a bit faster than I would feel comfortable with, but I'm going to say 99% of the interactions when I see them, everybody is actually happy to see the cows. If you were just looking at this trail, would you have guessed that there was 200 cows?
No, not at all. Just maybe a few. It's really interesting to learn how cattle ends up interacting and protecting our environment and the beautiful places that we adventure in.
It is kind of neat to see a dual purpose area and ground where you can have everybody using it, where cows are running on it and people are hiking and camping and fishing.